Hi guys, welcome back to Hairdryer Treatment. I'm so excited for this show. I hope you guys are doing wonderfully well. It's beautifully sunny here in Wolverhampton. I hope it's the same way you guys are watching from as well. I want to say a massive good morning to my special guest today. I've got Nicole, firstly, United She Stands. Nicole, how are you doing?
Hi there, I'm all right, yeah.
I'm doing really well, thank you. Buzzing to get you on Hairdryer Treatment today. I'm really happy to have you on, so thank you for joining us. Good morning to Emma as well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Brill. Emma, I've seen the kids already, and I saw Nicole's kids just up there. How have you two been coping firstly? I know Meg's been coping. I'll discuss that in a minute. But in lockdown, having kids around you, how have you found it?
Like I said a minute ago, I'd rather be back at work looking after 60 kids than being at home in my 4 because they just want to eat everything. They're bored every 2 seconds. They want to go to the park, play, and I'm like, no, you can't. And it's just like mum all the time. I just can't deal with it. I just want to go back to work.
Bless you. Nicole, what about you? How have you found it?
I see where Emma's coming from, but I'm off work at the moment, and when I was back in work, I work in retail, so I'd believe me, I'd rather be at home.
Fair enough. And then,
you know what I mean?
And then obviously our regular guest, Meg, how are you doing today? And again, how have you been finding lockdown?
Morning, I'm all right. I'm chilled again. Always chilled on a Sunday morning. Lockdown's fine. It's all right. It's how it is, isn't it? From now, I feel like I've just got used to it now.
Yeah, you know
like what is work? What is work?
I feel a bit like numb to it. I mean, I'm in work tomorrow, but I don't get the typical feeling on a Sunday where you're like, oh, I've got work tomorrow, that Monday morning. I don't get that really because I'm working like 2-3 times a week. You can't really complain at that, can you? To be honest with you, but I'm just grateful that I'm healthy. I just want to protect obviously the loved ones around us, and I think that we've just got to be grateful for what we have got. But we've got a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about today. And the first one, of course, is the fact that the government confirmed it yesterday. It will be happening. Premier League football is coming back on the 17th of June. I'll start with you, Emma. What is your opinion on that? Do you think it's right to come back so soon?
I personally think it is too soon. You know, people are still not abiding by the rules. I think there's going to be a second peak. I know that it's come out saying that the fresh batch of Premier League testing there was none. It was all negative. So that is a positive that they're going all out to protect the Premier League players. But I just think it's too soon. I still watch it, obviously, but I do think it's a bit too soon.
Yeah. Nicole, what's your take on it? Do you agree with Emma?
I'm the same. I have mixed feelings. Like I've seen like comments like, oh, if you're worried about the risk and stuff like that, you can't watch it. You can do both. There's no one size fits all. Obviously, I'm concerned not just for like the footballers, but for all the staff that are involved and stuff like that. And for me, it's more like I still can go to my mum's and give her a cuddle. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit weird how all these players from different households can do that and stuff like that. But at the same time, am I going to watch it? Of course, because I've missed it. But that's not to say that it's without its risks that I don't think it's a little bit too early yet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Doug's made a good point there. I remember talking to Doug on WhatsApp about this yesterday. The scenes at Durdle Beach, I don't know if you girls have seen it.
Oh my God, that's near my hometown, yeah.
Yeah, Durdle is beautiful. I went there last summer. Absolutely beautiful place. But there's people who are jumping off, obviously, the main rock feature, jumping off. I think 3 people were seriously injured, I think.
Yeah.
Had to get an ambulance, and then obviously people were all crazy like sardines on the beach. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but it's shocking. And I think when you see scenes like that, like you say, Emma, people aren't still abiding by the rules, and there's going to be a second peak at some point, definitely. And I do fear when that happens because it's going to be a lot worse. But Megan, what's your take on it? Do you think it's right that football should come back in June?
Not really. I said to you, I'd be amazed if we did see football in June. I definitely thought in England it would be pushed back until July minimum. But I think it's just like, how can you say, oh, you can only have 6 people in the garden, but then you can put 23, including the ref, on the field? Like, you can't, how does that work out? You can't be like, oh, you can have 6 people, but over here you can have 23 people, but you can't see your mum, but you can see people from all these different places. Doesn't work out. It doesn't make sense. Like, just doesn't make sense. If you use common sense, that doesn't add up. That's like putting like 2 and 2 is 5. It doesn't add up to what it should be. And I just think if you are going to allow that to happen, you will now you'll see, like, I mean, we live by a field and there's the cage football. Wow, there was a full tournament going on the other day. Honestly, everyone was there playing it. But that if you're going to expect Premier League football, you're going to expect football on television. That's what's going to happen. You're going to go to the park and you'll see cage football happening. You'll see I'm already like buzzing to get back to my season. I want to go and play football, but I don't think it's really where we should be at the moment. But yeah, I was amazed that it was coming back.
Yeah, I think it's just people out there are just complacent and think it's not going to touch them. And I think that the complacency, especially since Boris obviously defended Cunningham and what happened there, I think a lot of people have lost respect. And I think ultimately people are thinking, you know what, if MPs can do it, they want to sod them, I'll do what I want as well. And I think that's the feeling now, and it isn't obviously a healthy thing to be happening, but I think that's kind of the impression that I'm getting, especially when I'm out about to go on my bike, public parks, especially if it's sunny, thousands of people are out there, thousands of people, and it's an absolute joke. But as of tomorrow, like you say, up to 6 people in a household and whatnot. I mean, 2 people flew out to space yesterday. I think they had the right idea, if I'm totally honest. I think they had the right idea.
Best time to do it. So, me and Emma, just another point, me and Emma are already family of 6s.
Yeah,
this is another thing that makes no sense because we're already a team. So it's like, and if we lose one of us and leave one at home, then we can only pick like another person. So there's so many holes in it.
there
it's
is.
like Liverpool title, the post title.
Honest, if you're saying 6 to somebody, let's be honest, it's not going to stick at 6, is it? There's going to be more. People are going to think, you know what, I can have 8 then. What difference is 6 and 8? You know what I mean? And I think people aren't going to follow it. They haven't followed it all the way through, so why are they going to start following it now?
But like as well, saying about them pushing the rules, why would you announce this on a Thursday and expect people to go the whole weekend not doing it for it to start on Monday? If you want it to start on Monday, tell people on Monday. If you want it to start on Thursday, tell them on Thursday. Like you just said, look at the beaches over the weekend. Like, but people are like, well, if I can do it on Monday, I could probably do it on the Sunday. So
what I hope is with the Premier League players, are they going to stick to just going home straight after training? That are they going to be going to other places in big groups where they're not allowed? That's my worry, and it puts it back, and then they're spreading the virus if they do catch it.
Yeah, I think the thing, they're obviously going to be regularly testing the players, obviously, they've got to. But like you said, I mean, if I'm a player, Troy Deeney spoke out about it saying he's got obviously a son who had breathing difficulties, he's lost, Kante as well, lost members of his family. You're putting your family at risk by going out to kick a ball around the pitch. And of course, we all miss football and we love it. But really, is it essential? For me, it's an unnecessary risk. Like you say, of course I'll watch it. I miss football just like the next person. But I'm not comfortable seeing people literally risk their lives for my entertainment. I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible situation. And like I've already said, whoever is making the decision, you're always going to upset someone. You're always going to upset someone. And it's horrible. But football is coming back. Obviously, the chance to see Bruno and Pogba linking up is something that I'm really excited by. I cannot wait to see that. And Rashford coming back as well. I don't know if you guys saw what Skilly did in training the other day as well. That little back heel pass, quality.
Stop it.
This guy's honestly Rashford. It's no secret. Rashford is my favourite player. And I've missed seeing him play. But seeing him back in with Bruno, Pogba, Martial, of course, as well. It's exciting times for United, isn't it? But in terms of Pogba, big talking point. I've never asked you girls what your opinion is. I spoke to Meg about Pogba, but you two, what's your take? Should he stay or would you cash in on him? And I'll start with you, Nicole. What do you think about him?
I'm not sitting on the fence. It's just that I'm really not like, I'm not one of these that's just constantly abusing him and jumping on every single little thing he does, because I keep saying this, footballers are human beings, and do you know what I mean? Let's just focus him on the pitch and take everything else out of it.
Yeah.
Would you want him in your team? Yes. Would you want him to link up with Fernandes? Yes. Having said that, if his heart isn't in it, and some of what we've read is true, then we've had big names leave before and we've managed just fine. So I'm in between. It really depends on how he's feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that Paul Pogba, like you say, on his day, absolutely superb player. But how many times have you seen that day? And I think that's an interesting point. But Emma, what's your take on it? I know you feel quite strongly on Pogba as well.
I want Pogba to stay. Like, he is a world-class player, and anyone that says they don't want him in his team is bloody stupid, because why wouldn't you want him in his team? Yes, his attitude has been rubbish. I think he might have to work to get back in a team, because the likes of McTominay and Fred, especially Fred, has been outstanding. So I think he can't just go straight back in the team. I think he's going to have to work for his place a bit. But yeah, 100%. want him to stay. Link up with Bruno, like we said, is going to be amazing. And I don't think why anyone would not want him in the team.
Yeah, I agree. Meg, what's your take on Pogba?
I'm making it a clean sweep. I'm in. You know I'm in. I'm so in training. I think, like, do you not think as well, like, the break in football has probably done United good because we've had the chance to get Pogba back. We've had the chance to get Rashford back without them missing games. So, yeah, I'm in all day long. I think he is an unreal talent. Yeah, he's got a shit attitude. Okay, it's bad. Yes, there's headlines written about him every single day. Do I believe all of them? Not a chance. Don't believe it. I just think he's an easy target because he's such a big name in the squad. But we've mentioned it, the link up, that midfield to attack, it's scary. Like that written down on paper on their day, that is, for me, a title winning. If you're going to play 4-3-3, a title winning 6. If you've got like Bruno, well, especially if you get Sancho as well.
Yeah.
That's a title. That attack could win a title. Then you have to look at the defense. I'll put it out there. I'm in.
See, Pogba, for me, I always say if Pogba wants to stay at United and his heart is in it, keep him, of course. But I cannot be bothered anymore. Like, it's so draining and so tiring, the constant circus that follows him. Obviously, his agent is an absolute arsehole, and the constant rumours surrounding him, it's unhealthy, and I don't like that. And if we have to get rid of him to get rid of that, then we have to, I'm afraid. But like I say, I want to keep Pogba, but I want him just to get his head down and play football and prove what Paul Pogba can do. I'm tired of everything else that comes with it. And I think it depends on, obviously, I think it needs to get sacked off his agent, if I'm totally honest with you.
Yeah.
Will that happen? Will that happen? Financially, we don't know. But I just want Paul Pogba to get his head down and play football and do what Paul Pogba does best. Because him in a team with Bruno, like we've already mentioned, if it's going to be Fred or if it's going to be McTominay, whoever acts as that holding role, like you say, Meg, that is an exciting midfield to go on, definitely. Thank you so much to Alex. He's given us a super chat. He says, looks like our players have looked after themselves from watching the Bundesliga. The team with the best fitness will benefit from the most from the restart. Get my words out. Yeah, so United have come back and everyone looks pretty much in shape, don't they? Obviously, Sancho got a bit of stick. People were saying he looks fat. I saw a picture of Luke Shaw yesterday as well. And I saw a lot of people saying that he looked fat. I actually think he looks trim.
I think he looks great.
No one looks like McTominay at the moment, though. Oh my goodness me!
God. He has worked really hard, hasn't he?
Sorry, what happened to you? Where have you been? Who have you transformed into?
McTominay.
That's good.
There was 6. There was nearly 8. I was literally counting them. There was what? He's worked hard.
I think it's great is like Soph said, like the break, or was it Meg? He said the break has been good for us because I think if you look at our squad, all of our players have actually been training hard. And going back to Pogba, I think the competition that he has with Scott and Fred is pushing him a lot harder. If you looked at the pictures and the videos going around, I think it's pushing him a lot harder. And I think he wants to stay. So I'm glad.
Cole's comments just made me laugh. He said, fat blokes are well better anyway. To be fair, look, De Bruyne has just come back and as well. I saw a lot of people talking about how chubby he looked and how big he looks. De Bruyne, I reckon he could put 10 stone on and still absolutely know like the league. I think he's such a good player. But when I went to watch live United against City, I always think De Bruyne looks a bit stocky anyway. A bit like Luke Shaw does. I always think he looks a bit bigger. I don't know if it's just me who feels that way.
I've met Shaw and on pictures he looks a lot bigger. I'm not saying he hasn't been a little bit on the chunky and funky side. We all have, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in person, I think it's a bit like Rooney. Rooney looks a lot bigger until you see him in person. Do you know what I mean? I think it's the build.
I think it's just the body types, isn't it? Doug just mentioned about hairlines coming back. We talked about like going back after lockdown. Hairlines is a totally different matter. Like
their hairlines aren't coming back.
I just say, Aubameyang's is that far back? It's in not 2019. Have you seen? Like, I was like, oh my god, like what? And then they got Ashley Young, who's got a full head of hair. Like, baffled me. Have you seen any of the hairlines? Mane was another one as well. I just feel for them, man. That must be really unfortunate as a bloke to have a hairline like that. And then you've been stuck in lockdown, not had anything to do. And you've got to go back and be straight out in the public eye without having a haircut. Like, that must have been quite hard.
But respect to them, though. Like, I'd rather them do that. Like I've seen some United players in training, like Maguire, and the hair's just, bless him, it's just wild, like Boris Johnson or something. And then you've got the skinheads. But at least that they've shown they just like us. They haven't, like, some broke lockdown rules or thought we're better. You know what I mean? Rock it.
Fair play, like they've had to just go out into the public eye with a bad hairdo, like me. Like just before coming on live, like, I've had to brush my hair. Like imagine just having to just go and put yourself out there just like that. Like it'd be mortifying.
No.
But yeah, the hairline. Some of the pictures have made me laugh. To be honest with you, they have. But Aubameyang was the one that proper stuck out to me. It's just funny. Football Terry's Terry, thank you for that. He says, great show, leave the hairlines alone. And chuckle about that. Sorry, Terry, didn't mean to offend you there. But we mentioned about signings, we mentioned about obviously players coming back from injury, but who would your dream signing be? Obviously, if we've got the summer transfer window, if it does stay normal, the transfer window, obviously there could be a change with it, depending on times and when the season finishes. But who would your ideal signing be? If you could choose one, I know Sancho is mentioned, but if a dream signing, who would you choose? And I'm going to start with, go on, Nicole. Nicole wants to speak.
I was going to say, there's realistic ones like Sancho, like hopefully. But then if we're talking about dreams as in the first player that comes to my mind, if I could straight away, my first thought, and it could be anyone in the world, I've always had this, like, not saying it's going to be real, but I've always had this like fairy tale scenario of Ronaldo coming back.
Yes!
Do you know what I mean? That, from my heart, that is my first instinct. It might not be realistic, it might be 35, but is nicer than a lot of other 35-year-olds.
Yeah.
As soon as you started talking, I was like, she's going to talk about Ronaldo. God, I think she's sitting there thinking, if you don't say Ronaldo, we're about to fall out, Nicole. But honestly, it was so, like, if you could pick one player to ever come back to United or just whoever you want to sign, it'd always be Ronaldo.
It's
always.
Not
It's the same for me, guys. It would be Ronaldo, and I think he's just got better with age. If you just look at him for a 35-year-old, he's just mustard, and like I would take him back in the team. Like that.
Ronaldo coming back, obviously, I would love it. But is he my dream signing right now? I don't think he is. I don't think he's my dream signing. But him coming back, I've always said I'd like him to come back in some other form as well, being a part of the background staff at the club. I absolutely love that. But he's not my dream signing. I think he's obviously his age isn't a thing. Sancho, I think he's going to be a great addition, by the way, but he's not my dream signing either. I'm trying to think I think Mbappe might be up there for me. Mm-hmm. The idea of Mbappe coming to United and keeping Rashford as well, like. I would just love to see Mbappe at Old Trafford, and obviously he's young as well, a promising talent. I'd have to say Mbappe would be up there for me, not Ronaldo because of his age, but Ronaldo coming back in some form obviously is something that I would love to see in the near future.
If you had a realistic signing, yeah, who's you like realistic? Who's on the rumor list that you'd say, yeah, we'll have him? I'm going to pick one of these.
Meg, who's on the rumour list? Everyone's on the rumour list. We live with every man.
Who isn't?
I think we need an out-and-out striker. Like, you look at Lewandowski, I think he's a superb player. Like, imagine him leading the line. Like, he's probably the best striker in the world. Who else? Who else is that? Werner? Anyone like
Werner? He's linked heavily with Liverpool, though, isn't he? And it looks like Liverpool might snatch him.
I heard that was off.
Yeah, there's rumours. I still think he'll go. I still think he'll end up there. And it kills me because I think he's a quality player. Yeah. But I think a striker would have to be a dream signing for me because I think that's something that we've lacked. So Lewandowski would be up there. Werner for me as well. Someone said Belotti there. Good player. Not my dream signing, no, but a good player.
Wasn't we linked to Wolves striker?
Jimenez,
yeah.
Good player, and I'll take him. And my dad's always like, "You're not having him." But I'll see him.
Did you see the picture that his wife put up of them all in the Wolves kit? And I was like, "Yeah, he's definitely not coming then."
That would be unfortunate if he does move there. Imagine that. The photo album as a kid. But Jimenez I'll take as well. I would definitely take him. Would love to sign Ndidi, especially CDM, so Pogba can push forward more with Bruno. Says Johnny. Thank you so much, Johnny, for the super chat as well. Ndidi, would you take him?
It's a really important point, actually, this like central defensive midfielder, because when you look at our midfield, you're looking at McTominay and Matic. Now, a lot of people were talking about Bruno, Pogba and Fred being our like best three midfielders. For me, they probably are, but that midfield doesn't work because you are missing a disciplined central.
Is Fred really going to stay there?
That's what I mean. That's not for me. That's not his forte in the midfield. Like that's like you'd pick two out of those three to play in front of a one, like a holding one. But you've got to pick either McTominay or Matic, and I'm not sure whether they are perhaps the best you could ever have. Do you know what I mean? I think McTominay's before he got injured and whatnot, he was really, really good. And I think Matic did step up, but I'm not sure they are the one. I think that possibly your like weak link in the midfield.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Matt asked a good question as well. He says thoughts on the Women's Super League being cancelled, and there've been no announcement of who it's going to be resolved, what's going to happen, is going to be promotion, or obviously whatnot. I'll start with you, Meg, on that one. Because I know you keep on track of the WSL. I spoke to Ash Neville a bit about it the other day as well. But what is your take on that? I saw a tweet out saying, thank you for all the support for the season. Obviously, because that's Spurs. But is it the right decision to cancel it just like that? The men's game obviously coming back in June now. Was it a bit too soon to just rule it out?
I think financially, yeah, it was the right time, because look at how much they'd have to pay for testing and everything, and the money is not there in the women's game to be able to consistently put out tests like this. So for me, I think it is the right time to have cancelled it, but because they haven't put it out yet. I think they're delaying putting out how to resolve it, because in the women's league it will change things at the top as well, and I think Liverpool will go down if they do it on points per game, and then Chelsea go above Man City to win the league. I think it's that way round. But yeah, for me, it's probably the right time to cancel it for safety reasons and for financial reasons. I think delaying how they would resolve it isn't the best idea. I think that needs to be brought out ASAP. But it's way more complicated in the women's league, because the championship, to get into the championship, you have to have so much like backing from a club. You have to have like the accounts to match up with it. So it is quite complicated to not have promotion and relegation.
Yeah, definitely. And you're kind of left in limbo, aren't you? Not knowing, especially as a player, like you want answers. So it must be a bit of a horrible situation to be in, to not know what the next step is, especially if you're one of the teams who could possibly go down. It must be an awkward place to be left in. But Nicole, what's your take on the Women's Super League being cancelled?
I agree with Megan, but I'll admit I don't follow it as much as Megan. I've got friends who do, and I respect it, but at the same time, I think women's football is not part of the pun, but in its own league. So I don't think you can compare the two. And it was a good point what Meg said, that it's would they be able to afford the testing and stuff like that. And I've always said, regardless of what the sport is, what the situation is, it should always be safety first and worry about everything else later. And that's not to say that it's not valid, and obviously it matters, it's important, but I do think it's like I've even said that about the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? It's, even though they have the capabilities of it, I'm still worrying. Do you know what I mean? I'm still thinking, but can they really stay on top of something that we don't fully understand yet?
Yeah, it's a good point, Nicole. Definitely. Emma, what's your take on it?
I agree with the girls. I think it's the right decision. Like the financial situation, I think, it's completely different to how the men's football and the women's football, as much as it's annoying, they are completely different. And obviously the men are a lot higher, more money in that. So I think it is the right decision. And like Nicole said, it's all about safety first. And I don't think they have the financial funds to get the testing, to make sure everyone's healthy and safe. Yeah, it's the right call.
Yeah, I agree as well. I just hope there's an answer sharpish for those who are in limbo a little bit. It must be horrible to be left out of the lurch and not knowing. But Alex has just said, do you think that we need to strengthen? Do you think United need to strengthen their squad? Is it an essential thing that we strengthen in this summer, do you think? I'll start with you, Emma. Do you think we need to?
Yeah, definitely on the right wing and striker area. I think we need to strengthen and get that attacking Manchester United football way, and I think that's where we need to focus our transfer area.
So you think a right winger and a striker?
Right winger and a striker, yeah. That's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, Nicole, what do you think?
I agree with Emma, and I do agree that we have to focus on attack. But my thing is, I don't know if Bailly's fit, because I can't keep up with him. But my thing is that in the centre back positions, we've got Maguire, he's solid. Lindelof is like cool, calm and collected, and then you've got Bailly, who's on his day is a beast, but he's a beast that like falls quite a lot.
He's like mass.
So it's not to say we need someone in that position, but there's no harm in bulking the squad up a bit.
Yeah,
but I do agree with Emma as well.
Yeah, Meg, do you think we need to strengthen him? So what positions would you be going for?
I know we're going to talk about Igalo soon, but if we don't keep him, then I feel like we need to bring in a solid out-and-out striker, because I think we saw this season how we struggled with a plan B. And I think if you bring Sancho in, that's great. You've got the pace, it's electric, and you've got players in the midfield who will find them. But if you struggle with that plan A to break teams down, which we were doing, you need to revert to a plan B, and we didn't have that this season at the start. And then we brought Igalo in. We got someone up there who could get hold of the ball a bit more, like a
different option for us. Really.
Yeah, a different option. So for me, I think if depending on where that goes, where Igalo, if he stays where he goes, that would need to happen. And then I don't know. I think McTominay is great, and I think Matic is I would go McTominay over Matic, but again, I just said like perhaps that's probably the weakest part of our midfield.
Yeah.
And if this Sancho doesn't go through, another pacey winger for me.
Yeah, I'm going to point. I'm going to Terry. Make sure you go and check out Claude and the Bansters channel. It says, "Hello, Sophie. Hope you, Emma, Meg, and Nicole are good. Not long now until we debate who is the better team. Obviously, Arsenal are. Need to get you back on soon. Thank you for tuning in, Terry. Appreciate it. But Arsenal definitely are. They're the better banter team. I'll say that much. They're the better banter team. But that's about it, Terry. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, and definitely looking forward to coming on at some point. Yeah, in terms of Igalo, will we keep him? I mean, I hope we do. And you see a lot of the propaganda that Man United are putting out on Twitter, that damn smiling and all that, the flirting. I think he's going to stay. I genuinely think we're going to. I saw tweets recently saying he was going, and it broke my heart, and it made me realise, you know what, I really want Igalo to stay. I think he's everything that we need right now. He loves the club. Like you're saying, Meg, he gives us a different option. And he's a goal scorer. He is a goal scorer. So I hope we keep him. I think we need a holding midfielder, like you saying, Meg, that weak part. I think we might need somebody who's building that. Unless Fred can be that guy, but it's going to take some coaching from Ollie. And obviously, people doubt Ollie's coaching at the minute. They don't know if he is the guy to do the job. But is Fred disciplined enough? I guess we'll find out, because I think it's harsh to say that Fred misses out after the season he has had. But you kind of feel bad to say that he's going to miss out. So I hope he doesn't. But yeah, I agree. A winger. I think if we keep Igalo, Martial and Igalo will maybe be our option centre forwards. Sancho, obviously. But we've been linked with Adama Traore as well. If we don't get Sancho, people are saying Traore from Wolves could be a second option. Meg shaking her head. You're not a fan of that, Meg? And thank you so much to United for Life for sharing it on Twitter as well. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, Adama Traore, Meg, is he the answer?
The rumours of the price tag, no, is not the answer. It's not. Like, there are better people out there for what would be the same amount of money. I think he's just not. Don't get me, he is a talent. Like, he must be scary to play against, but I just don't think he is a Manchester United player. I don't look at him and think I'd pick you to be in our squad. I think I'd pick other people over him. And for me, therefore, that means no, I wouldn't have him.
Yeah. Nicole, Adama Traore?
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
She's gone. I think we have to know from Nicole.
You know what? I love him. I think he is built. He is a very talented player. I would actually take him. I think he would fit in, but the price tag, I agree with Meg, is a bit hefty.
Yeah, it's a hefty price tag. My take on Adama is he's good. He's the kind of player that you'd want coming off the bench against tired legs, because he is a sheer machine. Like, he is rapid, he's strong. Get too close to him, he'll just roll you. Or if you give him space, he'll just knock it past you and run. He's that kind of player. He's unplayable on his day. But he's also so frustrating, and I've said this several times on my channel. He'll beat a man, but then he'll kind of wait for them to come back and then try and beat them again. And there's fine parts of his game. I think Nuno's done a great job with him. Is he the answer at our right wing position? Is he much different from Dan James in the sense where he's a pace merchant, as people say? I don't know. I don't think there is much difference.
I think they play the same game, but they're physically different. That's it.
Strong, isn't it? He is an absolute machine. But his end product, would just argue that is it better than Dan James's? I think he's improved throughout the season, and Nuno's done a good job with him. But is he the answer at our right wing? I genuinely don't think he is. I think if you're looking at Sancho, I think he's a different quality of player. Doug says his stance on the Premier League returning has always been the same when it is safe to do so. This is not a time to be rushed. Wealth over health is wrong. Obviously, there's a lot of financial gain from the Premier League coming back. But Nicole, what's your take on Adama Traore if we can't get Sancho?
I pretty much I agree with you all. My only concern would be, like you say, would he add anything to the squad, or would it just be a replacement? And also, like Megan said, the money situation. And I don't think, however much we might be better off than some other clubs, I don't think this summer will be about spending big money on lots of signings. That I think it'll be trying to make a few correct decisions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with what Andrew said there. He says Daniel James is much more than a pace merchant, just needs to be given time. For me, Dan James was overplayed. I love Dan James. And I think he's impressed a lot.
He's only young, isn't he?
People wrong. Nobody expected it himself. He didn't expect to come up to the Premier League and play as much as he has done. And I think we've relied on him too much, and it's been a bit unfair on him. But I like him, and I think he's a useful player to have in our squad. And I think squad is a key word there, because obviously Sancho comes in, Dan James will automatically drop to the bench. But bringing his pace off the bench, we already play counter-attacking style of football. We've seen flashes this season, playing words there, flash. He's like the flash, but we've seen flashes of how effective he can be on the counter attack. And I think that Dan James, he's a good player, and he's had some unjustified stick for me this season. And I'm always there for him because I like him, and I think he's a good player. Johnny says, "What do you ladies think happens to Greenwood if Sancho and if another striker comes in? That would make him third choice striker. Would a loan be good for Greenwood? What do you guys think of that? For me, I think if we keep Igalo, Greenwood would still be rotated just like he has done this season, and I think that'll be what happens. But what happens with Greenwood there, Emma? You were about to talk.
I literally said, me and Carl were speaking about that. If we bring another striker in and we have the right winger in, I would loan him out because he's young. Get him out, get him some experience, get him back, fighting even better, so then he can come back and be that on par with like how Rashford is and Martial is. So yeah, I'll definitely loan him, get him experience, get him out there.
Yeah. Nicole, what would you do with him?
I pretty much concur. Like, I don't want to sell him. I would definitely want to keep him, but I know that he'll want game time. So I would loan him out for a season or two. Like I said, he's only young, and hopefully, like we've seen with many players before, he'll grow his confidence even more. Not that he's struggling with it at the moment, but you know.
Yeah. Meg, Greenwood, loan or keep him?
I'd keep him. If you're talking about Igalo, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Dan James, Greenwood, so that's 6. And if we're playing 3 up top, so that's a replacement, like a secondary backup option for every place. I think what we really struggled with this season is the fact that our squad was so small that when we had that a couple of months worth of injuries, we really struggled because we weren't being able to bring in players to fill those gaps. Yeah. I think if you've got a rotation of players, you'll see less injuries, you'll see the players getting used more and therefore growing in confidence. So for me, if Sancho comes in and Igalo stays, Greenwood stays for me, and keep him in the squad around those kind of players to grow at Manchester United, I think he'll get game time. But I see loads of people in the comments, by the way, saying like, get Lingard out, get Jones out, get this person out. That's great. Let's get rid of all these players. But unless you're going to replace them and bring players in, you can't just keep selling everyone, because you'll get into a position where you'll have no players if somebody gets injured or if somebody is suspended. What happens then? Who do you start bringing in then? This season we brought in youngsters and they've done well, but they still need time to adapt. So for me, he stays, and we don't just start gifting other teams' players without having backup options.
Yeah, apart from Phil Jones, I think if we sell him and we could do like the old Mars advert where you get a fan out the crowd and just put him in his place for a bit. I feel all right. Phil Jones, but yeah, I'm joking. Signings for Luton United for life would be Sancho. Werner is my number 1 choice, and DD, but health first, then football, protect before coming back. I completely agree with that. Werner, I would love it, but I do think he is Liverpool bound, sadly, and it kills me to say that. But I do think if we keep Igalo, I think Greenwood will stay. If we sign a striker, then I think that may be where Greenwood goes on loan. But I agree with Meg. I think Greenwood in the cup competitions in particular, I think he's had a decent amount of playtime this season, and I think he'll continue to have a decent amount of playing time next season as well. he's almost too good to put on loan sometimes. I think he's that exciting, that much of talent I'm excited about. The more he plays, I genuinely think he'll be our striker. And I don't want to see him at another team. It's a bit selfish of me. But of course, if we get another striker in, I think that alone would be good for him because he needs to play football. And someone's dog agrees with me as well, which is good to hear. But yeah, definitely. I think he's a great talent. I want to see him more in a United shirt rather than going on. I think if we do sign a striker, which is unlikely, but yeah, I think he might go on loan then. And the new United shirt we talk about, obviously, the first leaks was the weird zebra-looking hypnosis, whatever that was, and the coach leaked, and then there's the green one, which was quite nice. There's 2 new shirts been linked now, a lot simpler versions. I would ask you what your opinions are. Maybe I'll start with you. Have you seen the 2 new shirts, the new leaks? And would you buy any of them?
Yeah, and I think I would. I think we went from like, oh, let's go to a festival to let's go to football. Like the festival shirts, the zebra print one, the red one with all the dots all over it. I mean, I didn't mind the red one too much. I would have had the red one. I think the zebra one would have been at a festival, but now we're going to football. Like, it's toned down a bit. We've got a bit, we've smartened it up a little bit. I don't think they're bad. I think for the style that football shirts are nowadays, everyone wants to have a little bit of a pattern in there, make it a little bit different. Like, that's just how football is nowadays. No one's going for the simple shirt. Like, everyone wants to have that little bit of sauce on top of it. So yeah, not too bad for me.
I like a bit of a different, a bit crazy shit, but even that zebra hypnosis, wherever it was, that was too crazy for my liking. Like, I was no. Nicole, what's your take on the new league shirt?
I like simple shirts. My thing is just like plain red, or I love a black kit. Me, so really, I'm gagging for a black kit the next few seasons, black on black and black. But having said that, I'd rather have the recent leak ones than whatever that busty / knickerbocker glowy, whatever that was. It wasn't a bit of me. The zebra one, I suffer with migraine, so that's a no go. Yeah, so I prefer the new ones. And the dark green one, is that real? That's all right.
Yeah, I like that. Emma, what's your take on the new one?
It's a lot better than what was leaked before. Let's get back to basics, I think, with the shirts. Simple, nice, clean design. Get back to that. If you want to go a bit out there, then do something a bit like the 92 shirt, something like that, because everyone loved that shirt. So maybe bring that back a little bit if you want to go out there a bit. But definitely the home shirt needs to be plain and simple. That the home shirt just needs to be, just leave it alone. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the gold Chevrolet for me spoils any shirt we have. We can have the nicest design, the smartest colour, nicest fit, whatever you want to say, but then you've got that horrible gold Chevrolet shoved on the front of it. I hate it. I think if it was white, it'd be a lot better. And I just really dislike it. I hate it. Johnny says we have so many players for the Cam, the number 10 role. Bruno, Lingard, Mata, Pereira, and if Gomez signs his contract as well, that'll be another. We have got a lot of players for that position. I think if you look at Mata, though, a lot of the time we've forced him out wide. I just wish we would have played him in that 10 a lot more as a United player, and we just didn't do that. Lingard, will he still be here next season? I think it's an interesting one. But let's face it, that is Bruno's position. Nailed down. And if Gomez does sign, I'm hoping, a bit like I've said with Greenwood, I'm hoping that he can play more in the cup competitions as well, because I think he's one heck of a talent. And what's your take on Gomez? I'll start with you, Emma. Do you think he's going to sign, and do you think he should sign? Would you like him to?
I think he should sign because he's a good player, but then I have had discussions with Carl before, like maybe we should loan him out. I don't want to keep loaning players out, but players that are not going to get enough game time because, like someone said in the chat, that role is taken by quite a few players. So I'm in two minds about him. Like I would like him to stay, but I mean, like he was linked to Chelsea, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that. Definitely don't loan him out to like clubs like that. Definitely don't want that. But I'm swaying more to keep him and drip him in. Like, don't like force him in. Like, drip him in slowly so you don't get injuries. You know, he doesn't get burnt out. But yeah, I think I'm swaying more to just keep him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I just think that when you look at the young players coming through, you've got like Chong, Greenwood, Gomez, even players like Laird, obviously Tuanzebe still in our ranks as well. We've got a lot of promising young players coming in. I think Gomez, a loan for Gomez would be a lot more suited because obviously, like you've mentioned, we've got a lot of players in that number 10 role. I think Greenwood is most likely to get more games because we haven't got as many strikers, whereas Gomez is a lot more further down the pecking order. Rightly or wrongly so, he is behind Lingard in terms of the pecking order, so I think a loan would be good for him. But I don't want us to get rid of him because I feel like Gomez is one of them players where he'll come back to bite us on the arse because I think he's a good player. And
how many times have we let young talent go and then regretted it afterwards?
Exactly.
Okay, nobody has to get him back.
Look at Pogba. Look at Pogba. Look what happened there. So we got rid of him, ended up overspending and getting him back. Prime example. And I feel like Gomez will be that kind of player. I think we'll regret selling him. So I think a loan would be better for him. And like I say, he's further down the pecking order at the minute. So I think that'll be the best situation to go. Thoughts on the goalkeeping situation? That's a good one actually that we haven't even raised yet. But De Gea, obviously, people are saying he's on the decline now. People are saying that we should get rid. Henderson has been absolutely superb, obviously, this season for Sheffield United. I think he will be England's number 1. He's better than Pickford. Is this the time now where you do it? Is this the time where De Gea drops down and Henderson comes in as the number 1? Or do you think there should be a bit more time? Emma shaking head. What's your take on it?
No, you cannot drop De Gea, no matter how good Henderson has been. And like I said, he's been great for the England team. No, we can't drop De Gea. No. He hasn't. He's not finished. He's not written off. He's just had a bad season. Look at our team that we had. We haven't had the best team. We haven't had the best shape. You can't blame it all on him. He's not. You've got to keep him.
Meg, what's your take on De Gea?
I don't see it changing this season. I do feel though that it needs to be rotated at times. Like if he's dropping out of form, give him a break. Give him that couple of games break. We've got Romero in anyway. He's quality for a second keeper. He is Premier League standard, in my opinion. So if De Gea is dropping on form, right, just say you have this game off, come back, because you've got a goalkeeper in Romero who can step up. So yeah, for me this season it stays the same, definitely.
Nicole,
me 3. I think. First of all, you have to thank the fax machine gods because they helped us. So you can't just throw it back in the fax machine gods' faces. Second of all, on a more serious note, he stuck by us at some of our worst times. How many times did he get player of the season? Do you know what I mean? And I think I'm not saying that this is his worst time. I'm saying because he's such a talent and he's one of the best in the world, I think the focus is more on him when he's not 100% all the time. So I think he stuck with us when we wasn't 100%. We're not there, but we're getting there. He's got the team in front of him now. I think we should stick with him, and there's plenty of time. And like Meg said, Romero's a brilliant number 2, and any player in the squad, I think you can rotate when necessary. Competition is healthy, but don't get rid of him.
Yeah, I think De Gea. Someone said it in the chat there, and I think it was a nice little point. He said, I think it was Matt actually. He said De Gea has earned the right to play through a bad spell. I completely agree with that. How many points has David De Gea saved us over the last few years? It's ridiculous amounts. He's been that good for us, and I just think that when you're a goalkeeper, everybody knows that this is why I never want to play a goalkeeper ever in my life, because you make the slightest mistake and the attention is all on you. You do a loose touch as a midfielder, it kind of gets brushed under the carpet. You do a loose touch as a goalkeeper, not attending in the back of your net. So it's a really horrible position. But I think De Gea, yes, he has had a few mistakes recently. Possibly he is on the decline. But he's telling me he's still not one of the best in the world right now. He is. And I think Henderson, maybe one more year, De Gea will be number 1, and then I think Henderson will come back after a year, and I think then that'll be an interesting decision to see who gets it. I think they'll kind of be fighting it out. But I do think for the remainder of this season, for next season, I think De Gea, like you say, I think he deserves the right to stay. I think he's earned that right. He's earned the respect to stay in goal. And like I say, he's saved that many points. There's so many fickle people out there who are just like, get rid. We're not football fans are like the fickle. But
does anyone remember with De Gea? Does anyone remember when, after all that debacle was going on, the first game he played, I'm sure it was on Martial's debut in Old Trafford, when they said De Gea, the goosebumps that I got that showed how loved he is. I still love him just the same. Do you know what I mean? I haven't changed since then.
Yeah. What I will say though on it is that I fully believe that De Gea is our number 1, and he will be for at least at least this season, and I think potentially the season after that. But no player is too big to be dropped, and I think dropping someone shouldn't be made to be such a big deal. If you're out of form, which every player goes through, Soph will back me up on this. Every player will have a bad game, or form will dip slightly. It happens even in training. You know, when you're training during that session, you'll probably dip slightly and come back out of it. And I think when you can manage a squad, you can manage a squad properly when you can drop a player when you realise that it's getting too much for them to come back better, because that's what it can do. You can drop a player, bench a player, to almost give them confidence and desire to come back even better. And I think that's how you need to look at it sometimes. A lot of people are, like you said, are very fickle and just say, right, get him gone. No, actually, just give him a game's rest to come back and have that comeback momentum. Because that's when you don't play, and I feel like a lot of players will have it now, that comeback momentum, that buzz about getting back on the pitch, instead of just keep hammering in goal and just say, right, keep going, and just knocking his confidence, actually take him out of the situation. You've got the backup goalkeeper anyway, put him back in with the momentum to be even better than what he was.
I think that takes a strong manager to do that, to De Gea, though, doesn't he? Is Ollie strong enough to do that? He's a big character, De Gea, like we said, he's one of the best in the world. He's like someone said, the Rebuild FC said that he made a few errors leading to goals. Romero must be thinking, what do I need to do to get on the pitch? I think it does take a big manager to do that. But what I will say with De Gea as well in his defence is you've obviously got Maguire, who's come in and I think he's doing a great job. But for me, we need a consistent partner to go alongside Maguire. So when we talked about positions we need to strengthen earlier, I think another centre-back would be good. Nicole, you mentioned Bailly. I think he would be ideal, but is he going to stay fit? And we all know his career has been unfortunate at United with injuries.
It frustrates me so much because I was buzzing about him. Do you know what I mean? How old is he now?
How old who?
Bailly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How old is Bailly? Someone in the chat, Doug will know. Doug, let us know how old is Bailly now. He's getting on.
Doug knows everything.
He does. Doug knows everything. But yeah, I think we need a partner alongside Maguire. I've already said 25. George said there's 25. Thank you for that, George. But yeah, I think Bailly is probably the most suitable because he's quick. Obviously, Maguire isn't the quickest. Let's face it, he isn't. But Bailly will complement him perfectly. Lindelof for me is a bit vulnerable in the air. I've said it many times. I think when the ball is on the floor, he reads the game well. He's good with the ball at his feet, but in the air, he's a bit too vulnerable for me. And I don't fully trust him as Maguire's partner. We've been linked with like Koulibaly. I think it'd be interesting to see if we do sign another centre back, and obviously that will aid the goalkeeper as well because you'll have a consistent back four in front of you. Every time we've seen that partnership change, for example, I just think we need a consistent back. If you look at like City losing Company, never really replaced him. Look how much that has implicated them this season. I think we need a back two who we can rely on as centre backs. And Emma, do you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, I agree. And I think if Bailly was fit, he'd be the perfect solution. But he's just like glass. But because he does get stuck in, he doesn't care. He'd make a tackle and he'd just get retarded. I think that's his downfall. We've been linked with Koulibaly, and I think that is a very, very good signing if we can bagsy that. But I don't think it's the same rumours, isn't it? So I don't see us. Every other class after him as well. So I don't see us.
Yeah. What about Tuanzebe? Do you think that he could be the guy to step up? Obviously, he was at Villa. He was superb for Aston Villa. Villa fans were gutted when they had to let him go because he was so good for them. Could he ultimately be the answer, Meg? What's your take on Tuanzebe? Do you think he could be the guy?
I think he's one of those players that you need to bring in cup competitions to start with to get that feel for it. For me, you don't throw him into the Premier League straight away. Yeah. But my thing about Bailly is like, for me, you know how much I love Vidic and Ferdinand. Like, they are two of my favourite players.
I don't think we've ever replaced that.
We haven't, but you know, I feel like Bailly is the closest we've ever got to with that passion, like that style of play.
He just perfectly
goes in. He's like
the Vidic mindset, but a fragile body. That is Bailly. I completely agree with that.
He's the closest, but he's not been able to play for as long, and we've never because he's never been that fit for long. But for me, I think he's like that closest kind of style of play. I'd love to see him stay fit and play for United. So for me, I'd put Bailly next to Maguire, and I'd use Tuanzebe. I'd drip him in terms of competitions to get more of a feel for it. I don't think he's an out choice at the moment, and I think you just rotate Lindelof as well.
Well, if you had Tuanzebe against Arsenal, he played like fullback, didn't he? And he absolutely bodied. Who was he playing against at the time? Was it Saka? Or is it Aubameyang? I don't know who it is at the time, but he absolutely bodied him. I remember being at that game. But then obviously he did a costly mistake for Arsenal's goal. So he is still young and he's still developing. But I do think for the future he's definitely a player that could possibly be in that centre-back partnership, definitely. Let's see what some people in the chat are saying, guys. Let's round off. Get any questions into the chat that you've got for us as well. Don says we should have signed Laporte before he went to City, but our scouting system was up. So I remember us being linked with Laporte before he went to City. I remember that happening. Didn't he have a really bad injury in like the under-21 World Cup or Euros or something like that? And then I think our interest kind of just went away after that. But yeah, Laporte I think is a good signing. What I will ask you, and this is off the topic of football, but have you seen the rioting in America at the minute and how scary the world is? I mean, I'm terrified to open Twitter at the minute because I think it's just horrible what's going on. I think some of it is spilling over into the UK now from what I'm hearing and what's going on and stuff like that. What's your guys' opinion? I think it's absolutely disgusting. Obviously, we all tweeted yesterday, Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black Lives Matter. I think it's it's a scary world we live in. And we say it several times, racism doesn't belong in football, but racism doesn't belong anywhere, does it? And what's your guys seeing the footage? Obviously, it's disturbing. CNN have been doing a lot of reporting on it as well. What's your guys' take on it? Meg, I'll start with you. What's your take on what you've been seeing the last few days?
It's just mind-blowing that this still occurs for me. Like, I just don't. I have no words to be able to express how disgusting it is. Like, yeah, what I will say, on Instagram, there was something that's like, I'm not black, but I mourn with you. I'm not black, but I speak with you, and I'm not black, but I stand with you. And I think that's for me that that needs to be said. Like,
yeah,
I will. And another thing is, it's not just about not being racist. It's about speaking up when it happens. Yeah. And I think for me, I will stand with them, speak with them, and I just think it's completely. I think it's hard. Like, I'm married to somebody that is black. So for me, like, I can't ever imagine that happening, because I just feel like he's just a normal he's just a person. I find it really hard to talk about it.
Yeah,
I think
it's something that we've got to address. Do you know what I mean? And that's why the writing and stuff like that, to an extent, you have to agree with it, because something's got to change. Something is going to change. We can't keep on denying it as a problem, because there obviously is. But Emma, have you seen some of the protesting going on and stuff? What's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm just baffled how this is even still a thing. Like, why we're in 2020? Why is racism still here? Like, it's just disgusting, and it's very sickening what this world is like. And it's scary as a mother to think that your children are going into school with, kids and their parents. You don't know what kind of things their parents are teaching them, and it's so scary. And like, I've had to sit down and talk to my kids about it, because they come back and ask me questions sometimes, and I'm just disgusted, and I just think it's such a scary world right now.
Completely agree. Nicole?
I've just got a lump in my throat listening to you all. Like, to reiterate what Megan said, we can't be silent anymore, regardless of your background, if you're from America or not. We're in an era now where everything you can see everything 24/7, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and this is just beyond ugly, beyond disturbing. And I'm mixed race myself. My family's like split down the middle. My mum's side's mainly black, my dad's side's mainly white. I can't comprehend it, because I've been brought up in that environment where I've always just accepted people for as they are. And like Emma said, racism, you're not born with it, it's taught, which is why we have to speak about it, why we have to stand against it, and why we can't watch this happen and watch people lose their lives. And for me, the thing that destroyed me as a parent was seeing George Floyd, the picture with his baby, his little girl, and that's where it really hit home. These pictures are real. This isn't like, you know, something you see on Twitter, just something. These are real human beings, and it can't continue. And I won't be quiet about it. And another thing, when people say Black Lives Matter, I'm going to keep saying it, because people who reply and say all lives matter, nobody is saying that all lives don't matter. What they're saying is, at this moment in time, there is a specific group of people, just like any of us, that are being targeted, and we have to stand with them as human beings, as one race. Everyone, every single life is equal, which is the whole point. But right now, they need our support.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's just horrible that we're having to talk about these matters. But like I say, it's easy just to sweep under the carpet, but the issue is not going to go away. Something needs to change. But it's just sickening what is going on in the world. I think it's a scary place anyway, obviously with coronavirus, but then you've got that added stuff going on as well. Someone said in the chat, look who their leader is. Obviously, something needs to change. Something needs to change in America. It is getting spiraling out of control now, but you have to just say that fair play to the people who are protesting. You've got to agree with it, because it's just disgusting what happens, and we just need to all stand together, like you say, whether you're white or you're black or you're Asian, wherever you come from, we need to stand together. Thank you to Johnny for the super chat. He says that he thinks we should do what Chelsea do and loan out young players and follow their method. I think loan out people like Gomez, Chong as well, I think would be a good one to get out on loan. United for Life says racism is learned through culture and taught amongst us. However, through government action on racism can be tackled properly to remove it all equal. I think the sad thing is, you're realistic. You're never going to eradicate it, because there's some people in the world who are absolute scumbags, and regardless of your opinion, regardless of you like it or not, I think there's still going to be people out there who are absolute idiots. People who are trolls on Twitter, for example, who are trolling people that's their satisfaction, just putting other people down. Do you know what I mean? And I think there'll always be people like that in the world. But like you say, we can try and teach the new generation, the younger generation coming up, that this is not the way to be. And it's just sickening to think that something so hurtful. I mean, we talk often on here about sexism. To be fair, today the comments have been perfect, so thank you to everyone in the chat. Really supportive, we appreciate it. Sexism will always exist, just like racism will always exist, but we can do our bit to try and obviously contribute to put hopefully an end to it. But there's people out there who you can't talk sense into, and I think throughout this lockdown, this has proven to me that there's stupid people out there. Never underestimate other people's stupidity. This lockdown has proven that to me, and it makes you value things, doesn't it? It makes you value. I mean, I've said lockdown has been terrible, but it's also brought the best out of a lot of people in my area. People who've been going around helping the elderly, even children I work with, who, yes, social distancing isn't a thing, but you know, if you say to them, look, can you please not get close to me, they're understanding and they will accept it. And I just think that it has brought out the best in people as well. So it's so horrible now to see these scenes where it's the worst of people. But I mean, in terms of the officer, I think he's been arrested, hasn't he? He's been done for murder. Everyone wants obviously that to go even more. But football comes back. Hopefully that'll bring a bit more positivity. That's what I'm hoping. Because ultimately that's what it's for, isn't it? Right. I think we've cleared up our agenda, so let's go through the chat. See a smile on Meg's face whenever she reads my comment. Ramsby, making you smile, Meg. The amount of times I've been called a sheep shagger is unreal. So obviously from Wales, the character says the amount of times I've been called that. Again, that's not acceptable, but we kind of accept it as a part of life, and we shouldn't, should we really? We shouldn't. The cops will have a really hard time in prison, says Gaz. That's obviously for the police officer who's being arrested. Soph asked them whether they picked Gerard Lampard or Scholes. I'll ask you this question. Emma, Gerard Lampard or Scholes? Nicole?
Scholes.
Meg?
It's a shock. It's going to be Scholes.
There you go, Ram. You know, it was Gerard's birthday yesterday. It was Gerard's birthday yesterday, and Paul Scholes was trending. Oh. There's your answer.
Can we just talk about Liverpool, who sang
Happy Birthday?
Yeah. Sorry.
Why?
What? Who thought of that? Who must have gone to training that day and right, guys, all stand in a semicircle, and we're going to sing Happy Birthday to Steven Gerrard.
Is that a thing? Klopp are going for it as well. Like Klopp's like really into it. And I'm thinking, like, what is going on? It's bizarre. Celebrating.
There's something in the air. Literally, there's something in the air.
Yeah. weird. Johnny says it's been a joy to listen to you ladies, MUFC family. Thank you for that, Johnny. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, girls, for coming on as well. I've really appreciated it. I really enjoyed this show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. Emma, if you could just shout out your socials and where people can find you.
YouTube is That United Family. Twitter is XEmmaX88.
Thank you for that, Nicole.
United She Stands, plain and simple. It's not got plain and simple on it. It's just United She Stands on. This is why I write and don't speak, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram.
So United She Stands across all socials. Go and follow, obviously, Emma, and go and follow Nicole as well. And then Meg, do you want to shout out your socials?
So I'm on Twitter at Meg Wilts, so you can find me on there. And yeah, and we're normally on here.
Yeah.
This is where I normally am. On a Sunday morning.
Yeah, Sunday morning chill, that's what we're going for. Doug says, I've really enjoyed this show. 4 lovely people talking about football and 4 genuine and amazing people to chat to. Please make this a regular thing. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. It's lovely, Doug. It's lovely.
Doug, you know what? I always say this.
He's so good.
I always say that. For a Scouser, I like him. Good, yeah. Now, thank you.
And he knows everything.
He knows absolutely everything. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in the chat. I really do appreciate it. The super chats we've had today as well. Thank you so much for your support. And a massive thank you to the guests that I've had as well. Please go and make sure you follow all of them on their socials. Really do appreciate it. And I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Enjoy it. It's sunny. I'm back at work tomorrow, sadly. But yeah, make the most of it, guys. Keep smiling. Stay positive. And we'll speak to you again soon.